Good evening.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Good evening, everyone. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good, good.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
Everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
I think we're just waiting for a city solicitor to get on the call, and then we can get going. And Councilmember Vargas is in the waiting room. Oh, there she is. We'll give another minute or two, then we'll get going. Okay, I think we have a city solicitor on the line. Mr. Lima, if you can let in 9414, the phone number, we can begin.
He's in.
Evening.
That's me.
All right, John, welcome. All right.
Good
I
evening.
think we are, everybody good? Rose, are you good? Ron, you're good? All right. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Monday, February 28th Cranston City Council meeting to order. Madam Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Councilwoman Marino,
Present.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Present.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Present.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Present.
Councilman Donegan,
Present.
Councilman Campiano,
Present.
Councilman Riley,
Present.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Present.
Council President Paplaskas.
Present. At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Lima to please share his screen with us so we can do the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Mr. Lima. Hey, I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the
to the
flag of
flag
On the United
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You're on mute, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Oh, there we go. I said thank you, everyone. I'll entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes and approve them for the last meeting. Or the
So
last two
moved.
meetings, 11/22 and 12/20.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes. Motion passes. Next, we have public hearings and public comment. Public hearings are limited to the subject matters of docketed items only. Public comment is permitted with a 4-minute time limit. At this time, I will open the floor for public comment on docketed items on the agenda. If you are in the waiting room, please raise your hand. And Mr. Lima will bring you in one at a time.
I'll name Roy Witt.
Good evening, Mr. Witt. You can unmute and name and address for the record, please.
Oh, yes. Hi. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Roy Witt.
Just need your address and you have the floor.
96 Concord Avenue in Cranston.
Okay, floor is yours, sir.
Yes, I've been speaking to Mr. Main over the past few months, a concern of mine. I work for an organization that I could live anywhere I want to in the state of Rhode Island or anywhere, but I've lived on Concord Avenue for going on 12 years, and we really love the neighborhood. We love our house. We love the neighbors. I just have a concern about
Sir, can I cut
Yes,
you
sir.
off one second? Is this on a matter or an ordinance that's before us this evening, or is this on another issue?
No, it's about a trash issue.
All right, so if I could get you to hold your thoughts and bear with us, section 5 of the docket is for undocketed items that aren't before us this evening. If you can hold your comment till then, that would be much appreciated.
Okay, just let me know. Thank you.
Yep, we're going to put you back in the waiting room and then just hang tight until that portion of the meeting.
Thank you so much.
Okay, is there anybody else here for the public to speak on a docketed matter that's before us? I see none. Tom, okay, at this time I'll close public hearings on docketed items. Moving on to resolutions. We have no resolutions. Going on to report of committees. Finance Committee, Council Vice President Ferry, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. First up, for finance, we have a resolution authorizing real tax abatements. This passed in committee. I urge passage tonight. Do I have a motion to approve?
We have a motion to
Motion.
approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this item? There being none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
yes,
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
You're muted.
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes,
Okay, next up, we have a resolution authorizing motor vehicle tax abatements. This resolution passed in committee. I urge passage tonight.
we have a motion on this item.
motion to approve,
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
yes,
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes, motion passes.
And last on the finance report, we have an ordinance ratifying the school committee's collective bargaining agreement with the National Association of Government Employees Local Rhode Island 153 Custodian Unit. This
Motion to-
passed in committee. I urge passage tonight.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
yes,
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes. Thank you very much. That concludes the business of the Finance Committee. Thank you, Vice President Ferry. Moving on to the Ordinance Committee, we have Chairman Matthew Riley. Chairman, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. Yes, before us tonight, we have first ordinance 12-21-02. That was sponsored by yourself for motor vehicle and traffic on Tabor Street. And this passed in committee and emerging passage tonight.
Thank you, Chair. I'll entertain a motion.
motion to approve,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll just say that this was came before us after an issue brought to the council by concerned residents, and it does come with a positive recommendation from the traffic committee. So thank you. Madam Clerk, can you please take the roll?
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
yes,
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Council President Perry,
yes,
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes, thank you. Councilman Riley, the floor is still yours.
Thank you. And next we have ordinance 1-22-02, ordinance involving motor vehicles and traffic, sponsored by Councilwoman Marino and Vargas. It passed in the ordinance committee and urging passage tonight.
motion to
you.
approve,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Under discussion, I see Councilwoman Renzulli's hand up. Councilwoman, the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you. I was unable to be at the ordinance committee meeting, or I might have said this there, but these are just slight things that might want to amend, might not. I just wanted to bring it up. Where it says city will send notice. I don't know if we typically assign that to a certain department, or if that matters for who's responsible to send the notice. I know it would eventually get done regardless, but I don't know if we want to put that language in to make it more specific as far as accountability. And second, it says the notice should go 10 days before the council votes on adoption. I don't know if perhaps it should go out 10 days before the ordinance committee meeting, the original vote, so that people have the opportunity to speak at that meeting before it comes to us. So that was just a couple of things I wanted to throw out there.
Thank you, Councilwoman Renzulli. I guess I'll pass it to one of the sponsors to see if they're okay with amendments or have any suggestions. I'm sure we all received the email from our city clerk inquiring about who was going to have the responsibility to do the notices.
Sure.
Councilwoman Marino?
If I may, thank you, Council President. With respect to the issue of, it specifically says the city will provide notice via regular mail to all owners of property located on any highway or road that is proposed in ordinance to be converted. And with respect to that, I specifically don't think that it's wise to designate it to a specific department. I don't want to micromanage the administration or the executive office. This way it gives leeway as to which department they see fit as to provide notice, and that should be satisfactory. With respect to that issue, I understand the clerk's office currently is understaffed, and that's something that should not be permanent. So by keeping it broad like this, it provides the option of another department to take on that task if the mayor and the administration deem appropriate. And then in terms of the notice shall be mailed at least 10 days before the city council votes on the adoption of any such ordinance. Councilwoman Renzulli, you were not present at the prior meeting at the ordinance committee level. The intention there is just that the city provides notice at least once, not on a continual basis, to residents with respect to the proposed change of a one-way street to two-way or two-way to a one-way. Because this way it's a minimal burden to the city, but yet is providing property owners notice, and it's up to the property owner to then, be responsible, reach out and follow through to see if that has been adopted. That was the intent there. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess I have a question to the administration, to Director Moretti. Director Moretti, if this ordinance passes tonight, where do you see these notices coming out of? I know planning is doing their own notices now. This wouldn't be something that happens all the time. Personally, I would feel more comfortable if it does fall on the traffic engineer to get that put together and sent out, or another department, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, well, my knee-jerk reaction was city clerks. I think it's fine, as Councilwoman Marino indicated, that's left with the city. But certainly something to be considered for the traffic engineer. At this time, obviously, you folks have indicated, the shorthandedness of that department. But if we're up and running, the clerks should be fine. But it's a good suggestion also. So I like the idea of actually not tying this thing down and just leaving it to the city. We'll see what resources are at that time.
Thank you, Director. I hate to put Madam Clerk on the spot. Do you have anything that we should know before we consider this moving forward, Rosalba?
Nope, not at this time. We'll just have to see what Mr. already said. We'll see as time progresses and hopefully we'll have a new city clerk on board beginning of the year, and we'll have to figure out what department is best suited to do that.
Thank you, Rosalba. Any other questions or comments on this ordinance? I see none. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes, that sounded like a no, Mr. Riley. Just kidding.
Sorry about that, Council President.
Chris, you're on mute.
I apologize. Chairman Riley, you have one more ordinance.
Yes, lastly, we have ordinance 1-22-03 regarding motor vehicle and traffic, sponsored by Councilwoman Vargas. This passed in committee and we urge passage tonight.
Thank you very much. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Under discussion. Councilmember Vargas.
Thank you, Council President. This is very straightforward for those that are on the call this evening. As far as any participants outside of the council or so, pretty much it's more of making sure that we have a safety measure at Shaw Avenue for drop off and also for pickup during the daytime. This, as mentioned in the ordinance committee, this is really only in the morning and the afternoon during school days only. And this is for the safety of all pedestrians, including our students and families and residents that live on that street. I encourage and urge all my council colleagues for passage on this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Vargas. Any other questions or comments? There being none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Marino,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes, motion passes. That concludes the ordinance committee. Thank you, Chair Riley. Moving on to section 5, public comment for undocketed items. I'd invite Mr. Witt back in to speak under public comment.
Versus Mr. Witt.
Yes, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Just give your name and address one more time for the record, and please limit your comments to 4 minutes if possible.
Thank you. Roy Witt, W-I-T-T. I live at 96 Concord Avenue in Cranston.
Go right ahead. The floor is yours.
Yes, thank you for hearing my concern. Yeah, I've lived at 96 Concord Avenue for approximately 12 years. Like I said before, we could live anywhere we wanted to in Rhode Island. We choose to live in this area because we really do enjoy the community. It's a nice, safe community. The neighbors are really good, and I really enjoy Cranston. But my concern in the last year or so is just the amount of litter and trash that's I see on our streets and Pontiac and in different areas because of, I'm not really sure what the main problem is, but I notice a lot of it on windy days when the trash bins get turned over. People put their trash out, when they know a snowstorm is coming the day before or that morning, and they stick it on top of, they just pile it on top of an ice bank and it gets turned over. And it's just an unsightly thing for our community. And I'm not really sure what can be done about it. People litter. I noticed an increase in litter on Pontiac and just around the Roth Square area. But we live in such a beautiful community. I mean, there's a lot of prospects for this community. I see it as could be an East Greenwich or one of those type of places. But I just my concern is just a litter thing. And then we have a rodent problem also this past year. But I just don't understand why people do not pick up their trash and stuff when it turns over from their bins and the wind blows it everywhere. And I'm just wondering if the city has an ordinance concerning this issue and is it enforced? And I'm a citizen that will actually stop and pick up the trash and put it back in the bins if I can. I mean, I try to assist in things like that, but I'm just, like I said, I'm just a concerned citizen who really cares about their community and am looking for a solution to the problem that I'm bringing, to you guys right now.
Mr. Witt, I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. Typically, public comment is just public comment. It's not a question and answer session, and I don't know if our attorneys would be able to get an answer if there's an ordinance on the books right now. But maybe this is something we can answer in the Public Works Committee if the chair is okay with putting this on the docket.
Absolutely.
Any other questions or comments on this from any council members? Director Moretti?
I might just be able to add to that. First, it's very, Mr. Wood is extremely conscientious. It's wonderful to hear. It might be a bit early, but I know there is an ordinance. I don't have all the specifics. There is an ordinance on the books about littering. But in terms of the instances where Mr. Wood indicated if the barrels fall over, they're not, people are littering per se, but I believe there's also on that same ordinance that the person responsible must pick up that trash within X period of time. Now, if it blows around, obviously it gets more difficult. But I don't have all the answers, and probably best that Public Works and the attorneys can refer directly to the ordinance. But I just want to give Mr. Witt a bit of a flavor that there is an ordinance more littering than in that instance of, and unfortunately, we can't enforce littering unless they're caught by police. Then there are state and there are local fines that can be administered. And the trash situation, that is a tough one. And we hope that people have the common decency of picking up their trash. And there have been instances when things are really a mess that if reported, if we know about it, Public Works will go out and try to clean up the mess, as most of you know. So just some anecdotal information I just wanted to pass along because I think Mr. Witt is very conscientious. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Moretti. Councilwoman Jermaine.
Thank you, Council President. So what I would like to add, that's why today we have this topic on the communication, because Mr. Witt have been really addressing this issue for a few months. We talk about it. I went to the charter and I look up the law about it. There is a fine. There's $200 fine for littering. So the problem is, that's why I put it on the communication, maybe the administration, or I don't know who is responsible for enforcing littering or whatever trash things, who is responsible and how that happens. So I would like to know the process, because Mr. Witt asked if we can put up like a sign, and I said, if there is a law so against it, why we need to put sign? So that's why I was like looking at it. We don't need to put sign to say no littering. So my question, I will wait for when we get into the docket about the communication, how we can discuss, how we can find a solution to this problem. It's a problem. It's not only Mr. Witt that report this problem in this neighborhood. I have other residents that complain about it. That's why I researched to see there is a law, no littering. You have to be compliant. Everybody have to comply with the law. So how now we can enforce the law? That's the question.
Thank you, council member. Director Moretti, I don't know if you have an answer for that now, but certainly an important issue, and I appreciate Mr. Witt for bringing this up.
Yeah, in terms of enforcement, I know the police have to witness people littering in order to find them. That's a case. As to Rolfe Square, I can tell you the mayor is fanatical about Rolfe Square. And there is frustration. There's one business that comes to mind that, again, we can't catch them in the act, but we're constantly going there. We believe there's some patrons that are littering, and it's making a mess. And it's a constant. So we're always going in there, but if we catch them in the act, we could do something about it. The other thing, the mayor, I believe, had installed about 8 additional trash cans on Rolfe Square. So I just wanted to say that measure was taken. So for the responsible people, there's that opportunity with those trash cans. And unfortunately, it's the irresponsible ones that are difficult to catch relative to the littering itself. And yes, the fines are up to $200. But in speaking with police, they even say if people are traveling along, they typically will notice a police car in the area before they'll look behind them to see if anyone's looking. And more often than not, very rare would they catch the people in the act. So it is a very difficult thing. I'm not giving you a solution, unfortunately. And as I mentioned with the trash bins, if things are a mess, I can only encourage people if there was a mess from the trash falling over and no one's picking it up. If you call the DPW or the mayor's office, or we'll send somebody out there. But once it starts blowing around, being practical, it's so difficult. So I think that might be as good of an answer as I can possibly give you at this time. It's again, it's more anecdotal. It's actually the colonel was just calling me. His ears were ringing. If there's a question, I could ask the colonel now. Actually, dialing me in, but I know that I spoke to Major Padalano about this earlier, and that was pretty much what he had to say.
Yeah, I think, Director Murray, the best bet might be to have this put on the Public Works docket. Also talk with Joe DiCarlo, the Clean City Coordinator, and try to see if there's something we can do about it. I know it's tough with the wind and everything else going on too, blowing the trash cans over in the neighborhoods. So
Okay.
I certainly picked up my share of trash this past week. The wind's been different, I'll tell you that. But any other questions or comments on this before we move on? There being none, I just want to thank Mr. Witt. Madam Clerk, what day is the Public Works Committee meeting where we'll discuss this again?
March 17th.
March 17th. Mr. Witt, if you'd like to join us on March 17th, we'll discuss it again. And Councilmember Jermaine has it also under Councilmember Communications coming up shortly. So thank you very much. Moving on, continuing under public comment. I believe we have George Gramis here. He's a Boy Scout with the rank of life with Troop 6 Cranston. He's building a pocket food pantry at Cranston High School East, and he just wants to take a couple of minutes to tell us about his Eagle project and what he has going forward with that project. Mr. Gramis, name and address for the record, please.
My name is George Gremis. My address is 67 Carrie Ann Drive. And like Mr. Plaska said, I'm building a pocket food pantry at Cranston East. I'm looking mainly for any donations of canned food or any like individually wrapped nutritious snacks that I can use to stock it. That's pretty much all I have to say. If there are any questions, I'll take them now.
Mr. Gramis, I think it's a great idea having putting a pocket food pantry at Cranston East. When do you plan on having the pantry open? I'd like to ask all the council members if they have any donations for the food pantry to bring them to council chambers through the month of March. And we can, Mr. Gramis can come next door from school and pick them up. But what's your target date on getting the food pantry up and running?
Right now I'm thinking March 26th for the construction and stocking of it. That date can change depending on how much donations I get, where the shelving is, but I think it's probably gonna be the 26th.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Gramis? Councilmember Jermaine.
Thank you, Council President. So I want to thank Mr. Gramis for this wonderful idea, because I don't know him, but I have this idea a long time ago. I even have a name for it. It calls Snack Up. So I'm putting out something, because I have to tell you one story. My son was 5 years old, and I forget to pay the lunch for him. And he went to school and spent the whole day without food because I forgot to put the money on time. So since then, I'm thinking about every child should have something to eat at school, whether free lunch, whether we have snack at school, they have somewhere to go to get something. That's a project I'm working on for next month, and I hear you coming with it. It's so wonderful. So I would like to partner with you, so we don't need to replicate. So I will give donation because we need snack for our students. Some of them, before they go to the bus or they come home, and at this time where we have inflation, there is a lot of parents that's squeezing. They are in sandwiches because, unfortunately, in our system, if you make $1, okay, $1 threshold, you are not qualified for nothing. So a lot of parents are struggling right now. So have snacks, canned food for a lot of students. That will mean a lot. Thank you so much. So I would like to keep in touch with you, and my phone number, we can do it together. So I was planning to start at Waterman first before I go to East, so we can do opening together. I would like to see this activity in every school in Cranston. So no matter, because you don't know when someone is hungry, they won't tell you they are hungry, but a hungry child cannot learn. Whoever you cannot learn when you're hungry. So thank you for this project. So I would like to partner with you because I have the name already, Snack Up. Thank you. Snack Up. Everybody gets a snack before they take the bus or you come in the morning. They know. They don't need someone to tell you, to hand it to. They know where they go and they take something.
Thank you. I will definitely keep in touch about it.
Thank you very much, council member. And Mr. Granis, I'll get you council member Jermaine's contact info. And it really is a great project. I appreciate you thinking of this and bringing it forward for Cranston East. And like I said, council members, through the whole month of March, if you can bring any donations, we'll put a box in council chambers and we can get them right next door for when he builds his shelves and does his Eagle project. Councilman Campo Piano, I see your hand up.
Yes, it's a wonderful idea, and I commend him for doing this. Moving forward, I plan on bringing food to the next meeting, but moving forward in the future, how can we get food to him to make sure this pantry is stocked?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to continuing it after the actual project's finished. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue running it myself or if I'll hand it over to the student council or some other organization within Cranston East itself. But yeah, I want it to be a sustainable thing. So any ongoing donations will also be greatly appreciated.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Maybe we'll keep that box in council chambers permanently, and Director Moretti, if you can get the word out across City Hall to bring donations, that would be great too. Council Vice President Ferry, see your hand up?
Yeah, just to clarify, that's going to be inside of Cranston East?
Yes, it will be inside Cranston East.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Grammis, if there's anybody listening on YouTube, watching on YouTube or on Zoom that wants to get you donations, what's the best way to get it to you without going to City Hall?
If they give me an address, I can pick it up. Yeah, we'll provide.
Do you have an email set up or something that we can give out if somebody has a donation and wants to get it to you? Or somewhere where they can bring it to drop it off? Will there be a box at Cranston East too?
Yeah, there'll be a box at Cranston East.
Okay,
I can pick it up myself. It can go to the Greek Orthodox Church on Oaklawn Ave.
excellent.
I can pick stuff up there.
Very good.
And I'm pretty sure that you have my email.
I do. And then you can also reach out to me and I can connect you with Mr. Grammis. Council Member Vargas?
Thank you. Actually, I was just going to ask if perhaps maybe the Chief of Staff of Director Moretti would be able to probably reach out to him to kind of get his email information and share it across with everyone. But mainly, even possible, PR and provide some little pointers on marketing side that they can work. The city of Cranston can work with. Is it George? Is that your first name?
Yes, George.
Yeah, with George, this is a great initiative, whether it's with our seniors, whether it's with the police department or anywhere. So I appreciate what you're doing and definitely working here to collaborate with you. But if definitely the council or perhaps even the Cranston Herald, we can provide them with Cranston Herald's contact if you're not on the call, be a great way to market and be able to put those bins throughout the month of March and moving forward as you so wish, of course. And if you have a Facebook page or post or anything along those lines, if you want to share that over to maybe Council President Papalaskas, he can share that with us, and I'd be happy to share that along as well.
I don't have anything right now. I could probably put one together if I had to.
Sure, at your convenience, however you'd like us to help you out. That'd be great. Thank you again.
Thank you. Councilmember Renzulli.
Thank you. To piggyback off what Councilwoman Vargas said, if you have some kind of a graphic, a flyer or something, George, that we could, uniformly put out on social media so that everyone's using the same one, that's often helpful in marketing. But I just really had a question. Do you think you're more so looking for snack food that kids can be eating, at school if they're hungry and they need to go get a snack, or more focused on, meals for at home? I'm just curious so I know what I should bring to best help.
Any individually wrapped snacks, granola bars, any like nuts.
Okay, so snacks.
Anything
Snacks is better.
preferably like nutrition.
Okay,
And
All
then
right,
I'll
great.
have a flyer done by the end of the week.
fantastic. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you, council members. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Grammis? There being none. George, thanks for coming here tonight to tell us about your Eagle project. We're all really excited about it. We look forward to helping you. When you get that flyer done, please get it to me. I'll make sure it gets distributed to the city council and to the administration, so we can try to get you as many donations as possible. All right.
Thank you for giving me a chance to talk about today.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Have a nice day.
You too.
Thanks. Okay, public comment is still open for undocketed items. If there's anybody in the waiting room, put your hand up and we'll bring you in.
John Doucette.
Hello, John?
Hello, council.
Hello, name and address for the record, please, and the floor is yours.
John Doucette, and I live at 759 Pontiac Avenue.
Okay.
So I just had a question, which I don't know if it could be answered this evening, but I wanted to put it out there. I live next to a commercial building on Pontiac, and it was recently sold back in December. And we heard through the grapevine, haven't received any paperwork or anything in the mail, but we heard that it's going to be turned into low-income housing. And I was just curious if in the city of Cranston, it's possible to convert a commercial building to low-income housing, or if there is something, or if that's something that the neighborhood would be notified about if it were to happen.
All right, that would probably be a question for the planning department. I don't know if we can get an answer offhand tonight.
Okay.
Director
I have
Moretti.
reached, oh, I'm
What's that?
sorry.
Good, no,
I was
go
just
ahead,
gonna say, I did reach out to the zoning department, and no permits had been pulled for that sort of situation yet. But I just wanted to see if it was something that, if it were to happen, would we be notified as neighbors?
Yeah, I mean, if there's a zone change or something like that, we typically send out notices. There's state laws and guidelines that the city has to follow. Certainly don't know with this situation, and I'm not sure the building off top. And I would say, if you want to send one of the council members an email, we can certainly connect you with the right person to try to get you some answers on that.
Okay, yeah, that would be great.
Sounds good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thank you
your
very
time.
much.
Okay, any other public comment for undocketed items? Raise your hand. I see none. At this time, I will close public comment for undocketed items. Moving on to election and or appointment of city officials. That is, we have none tonight. Same thing for report of city officers. Moving on to executive communications, we have the legal fees report. This is informational only. Do we have any questions on the legal fee report? I see none. I will turn the floor over to Director Moretti for Chief Ryan. I think you're on mute, Director.
Sorry about that. Yes, Deputy Fire Chief Robert Ryan has requested to continue service for an additional year. Obviously, he's done a terrific job and he has fulfilled his requirements to be with us for another year. So the administration requests the council approval for his continuation of service.
Hey, thank you, Director. I'll request a motion to continue in service 1 year. Deputy Chief Robert Ryan. The Cranston
Motion
Fire
to continue.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on Chief Ryan? There being none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Marino. Councilman Marino. Councilman Mazzulli.
Yes.
Councilman Vargas.
Yes.
Councilman Jermaine.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan.
Yes.
Councilman Campiano.
Yes.
Councilman Riley.
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry.
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Director Murray, anything else you'd like to share with the council? Before we move
Yes,
on?
please. Yes, please. Just prior to this meeting, Councilman Vargas had inquired about trash collection. And we were informed around 6 o'clock, a little after 6 o'clock, that the trash is, bottom line is trash is delayed this week for all residents by 1 day. As you will recall, last week that there was the holiday, which pushed everyone off 1 day. And so we did fine up until Friday, whereas Friday collections were pushed to Saturday due to that holiday. And then we had the storm. And so as a result of that snowstorm, the collections that were to occur on Saturday, which were the Friday collections, were pushed off until today, being Monday. That's causing us again to push off trash collections this week. As I said, I was not notified up until just prior to this meeting as a result of Councilwoman Vargas inquiring.
Thank you very much, Director Moretti. Any questions on the trash?
I just want to say thank you to Director Moretti for that quick email turnaround. I wasn't sure, and I know that I got a couple of calls, and obviously once I get, at least one call, I'm reaching out to the administration just to make sure that we're on all on the same page. So I'm assuming it'll be picked up tomorrow, and the entire will be delayed by a day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Moretti. Anything else for us?
That should do it. Obviously, we all pray for the people in Ukraine.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. That was the next thing I was going to say.
Punch.
Yeah, under Council President Communications, obviously, there's turmoil, and we're all praying for the people in Ukraine. And honestly, we all need to keep positive thoughts and prayers for world peace, because the world is really being pushed to the brink right now. You just turn on the news and you'll see it. So I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for the people in Ukraine, and for the entire world, and this moment of silence is dedicated to world peace. So if we can just have a moment. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Moving on into Council President Communications, we heard from Mr. Gramis with his Eagle project. So again, just want to give him a thank you for coming out. It's a wonderful Eagle project, and certainly thank him for that. I'd also like to mention that the City Council survey has been completed. Appreciate Council members Renzulli and Vargas for your hard work, as well as Director DeMayo and Ed Gosher at the Cranston Library. So there should be a link to that starting tomorrow, where we can all share it in a graphic and send people to that survey. So looking forward to seeing the results on that. So that concludes Council President Communications. Moving on to Council Member Communications, Council Vice President Ferry.
Thank you, Council President. Is Director Paulino on the call?
I believe he is.
Yeah, he should be joining us, yes.
All right. I was just hoping to receive an economic development update, possibly any projects that have been in the works, or from conception to, besides the Park Cinema. If we could have a report on anything that's current.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Good evening.
Good evening, council members and members of the public. Yes, we have a couple of updates. First of all, the Park Theater announcement, it was on February 22nd. They're going to be announcing the reopening. They're going to be having a plan for cafe, a club, a comedy park, and a Rhode Island Comic Hall of Fame. The seating capacity is going to be 1,050 patrons. It was done on Tuesday, February 22nd. There also was an announcement on the Legion Bowl. It's going to be a 4-story multi-use development on Park Avenue, mixed use. It's urban design building. And they're saying they're going to have a 74 residential unit. A little bit of update on the economic development on Garden City. Garden City is gonna have 6 new store. One of them is Madwell Premium Denim Jeans. The other one is Sunglass Hunt Store. JC Crew also had expansion inside of in their store. Nike is under construction, is going to be open in the spring of 2022. Ulta is also coming to Garden City, and Providence Diamond is moving to a new location in Garden City also. Edible Arrangement closed the store in Garden City. We have a upcoming development plan. We have a ribbon cutting for real estate service on March 3rd. That's on 932 Oakland Avenue. We also gonna be having the Council Small Business Advisory Board will be meeting in March. We also have economic development still working on the CARES Act CBDG fund for $1,000 grant and a 2,500 up to 7,500. Currently, we have helped 27 business for $1,000 grant, and also 8 business for grant ranging from 2,000 to 2,500. And we also have helped 17 business ranging from $5,000 to $7,000. Upcoming event that we are going to be having in the city of Cranston. The governor is planning to visit the city of Cranston maybe the 3rd week or late in March to visit small business in Ross Square and Park Avenue. We also working on a RFP, request for proposal, for Rhode Island Rebound to take it outside for a small business grant. And I'm also working on 2 other major projects, which I'm not able to discuss at this point.
Thank you, Director Franklin. Any follow-up questions or comments for him?
Yes. Director Paulino, the $1,000 grant that is still being offered, it doesn't seem like 27 issuing the grant 27 times. It doesn't seem like a lot of businesses have taken advantage of that. And I had recommended it to a business about 3 months ago, and they said that the application was so difficult that it wasn't worth the $1,000 to spend the time to fill out the application. Have you run into this problem with other businesses being frustrated with the process of applying for that $1,000?
Not, I have, but we will walk them through them. The only issue on that $1,000 is the paperwork. They have to have receipt, and that's one of the issues that they are confronting. They don't have the receipt, you know, because sometimes they have bought it cash. They have to itemize it, and they have to put it together, and they have to go back and get all that documentation. That's the problem that a lot of the small businesses having, just having those receipts, getting those receipts to us so they could get reimbursed for that. But the application is pretty simple. You know, I could walk them through it, and if they need assistance, we'll be more gladly to help them.
It just seems to me that only 27, and it's been what, over a year. Just doesn't seem like that many businesses are taking advantage of it. I was just trying to figure out why.
You know, we are promoting it. We are telling you know, the business to apply for it. You know, they have to take advantage of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, may I just add to that, please?
Sure.
Through the chair to Director Paulino. Director Paulino, is it true that it's also, yes, you do mention, I'll say, having the receipts and be able to document the uses of the funds, but isn't it also income dependent, that there's income thresholds that also are considered? That's the question I have to you.
Yes, one of the things that we are encountering is a lot of these individuals, they are not low to moderate income. You know, their income is above the threshold. So sometimes they do not qualify under the federal guidelines of being low to moderate income. That's another issue that we are encountering in the city of Cranston.
Thank you, Director. Council Member Renzulli, see your hand up.
Thank you. Director Polino, I just had a question because you had mentioned Ulta coming to Garden City. Is that
Yes.
replacing Sephora or is that in addition to Sephora? Do you know?
No, that's in addition to Sephora.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. And do you know when Nike is planning to open?
I spoke with the manager, Joe Chriselle, today, and he told me he doesn't have an exact date, but it was spring of coming up in the spring.
Okay,
He doesn't have an
fantastic.
exact date. Mhm.
And do we have a date on Topgolf?
I should suggest ask Mr. Moretti on that.
They're not at liberty to say, but let me just say this. I think we're all going to be pleased relatively soon, if that's fair enough.
Okay, that's good for me. Just one more question, Director Polino. I know I don't have the exact name of it in front of me, but Councilman Donegan has discussed it before about working on that tourism contract, similar to what they do in, I think, the city of Providence. He was working on it with Councilman Brady, former Councilman Brady. Is that something that's coming to fruition?
Yes, that is on the final stage, is on Mr. Moretti's desk for review on the agreement, but it's on Mr. Moretti's desk, and I think we should be finalizing pretty soon.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, just to that point, I hope to get together with Solicitor Malay. A couple of, I think, pretty minor changes, minor edits just need to be made, but we should be able to square it away this week. Last week I took a few days off, and so that didn't help. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Council Member Vargas.
Yes, thank you, Council President. Director Polino, I was just wondering, there is I might have said this in previous meetings already. I'm not sure whether you were part of those meetings at all, but there is a local bank, sorry, not a local bank. There is an actual bank that closed here locally on the corner of Broad Street and what was that? Norwood, sorry.
Norwood.
On Norwood. And so it was a Santander Bank. They've closed. That building now is vacant. Just wondering, as economic development, do you have some sort of binder? Do you work with planning? Do you work with any potential, folks, outsiders that perhaps are looking for square footage of space that we may have, that we may be able to at least provide them with the buildings that we know of or that are available, whether we own it or not? Just, I'd hate to see that corner area of Warwick Ave and Norwood, or Broad Street, I guess I should say. It's really right in the intersection, vacant for such a long time. While we have, again, no control. I understand it's a private building, but I'm just curious on our end, what do we do when we have closed buildings like that? Do we reach out to the owner and have some sort of binder available in the event someone's looking for spacing here in the city of Cranston?
Yes, I went to visit that location, and they sent me to the bank in Reservoir Avenue. I spoke with the manager. They do own the building, and they closed that location, that branch, because she told me about the online banking. But yes, we do recommend individual when they are looking for lease or open space in the city of Cranston. If we could refer them to that location, we will. But that is a private owned building by Santander Bank, and they're the one that own the building. So that's where it stands.
All right, thank you again. Just hoping not to see another, or a vacant building right here in on that corner, such a busy intersection. I think it's really prime time, or prime location, I should say. So thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you. Council Vice President Ferry?
Sorry, I have one more question for
Go ahead.
Director Paulino.
Yes.
Director Paulino, do you have any idea what's gonna go where Fred's Drugs used to be on Oak Lawn Avenue? They knocked down the building about a month ago, and I'm just curious if you know.
I have to research that one. I have to research on that one. I don't know if it was a liquor store or a car wash that was gonna go in there, but I have to look into that one.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments for Director Paulino? I see none. Just want to thank Director Paulino for coming in tonight. Certainly appreciate your update and look forward to your first meeting of the Economic Development Commission.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now, Madam Clerk, I just want to note for the record, Councilmember Marino had to step away for a family emergency, so just wanted to note that for the record, and certainly our thoughts are with her and her family. Moving on council member communications, Councilwoman Germain, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. So I had two items in the communication. First one, we discussed a little bit about it, is about littering. So we touched upon it. I do not have a lot to ask right now because we really touched upon it. I hope Mr. Moretti talked a little bit about it. He did not have the answer. So I hope we can find really an answer to that because this issue is a real one. So how we will find ways to address it properly and to deter people. So the problem, as Mr. Moretti mentioned, is if you do not find the person right away, and you cannot, do anything. But is there any other way? So I don't know, maybe legal or how we can find, because we cannot have another ordinance because the law is already there. So I think if it's require another ordinance to amend what we have, is that we want to go that path. So probably yes. I would like to hear from legal, and because residents have been complaining, a lot of people have been really careless about trash, and that's need to be addressed. So I would like to hear what you also think about this situation.
Thank you, Councilmember. Director Moretti, do you have any further comment on that, or should we just continue that to the Public Works docket?
Yeah, I think, I think I laid out that with the, roughly with the, as an outline, what the ordinance was about. So I think deferring it to Public Works to give it further thought. From an enforcement end, as we know, there's challenges, as the Councilwoman just mentioned. And again, the other thing I would encourage folks, if they do see a large amount of trash, as such, tipped over barrels or whatever, do call Public Works, the mayor's office. We'll get somebody out there to clean it up. But just hope society and people can cooperate and respect one another.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilmember Germain, I appreciate you bringing this forward. I mean, it's certainly a pet peeve of mine. It seems when the snow melts, all we see is litter everywhere. Especially through the first month or two of spring until people start picking stuff up. So I certainly appreciate you bringing it forward. And I think you have one more item on the docket as well.
Yes. The next item is about implementation of ordinances. So we had last month or 2 months ago, I think, a there is an ordinance to make Eden Park Drive one way during school hours. So I just would like to have an update if that's have been implemented or not.
Director Moretti? This is for the Eden Park one-way that was passed.
So is it, so has the signage been put up? Is that the question? I wasn't sure on the docket what the question was going to be, so I don't have an answer to that. I can make a note and certainly follow up on that tomorrow first thing.
Excellent. Any other council members have anything else for council member communications? Like that, anything?
Council President.
Yes.
So one question about that. Do we have a deadline after an ordinance passed to implement certain signage, whatever it is? Do we have a time that it has to be complete or not?
That's a great question. I don't know if we have a time limit. I know, I'll give you an example. In my ward, a few months ago, we passed no parking on Village Avenue for a certain area near Stonehill School. And those signs, I don't know if they're up yet because the ground's been frozen and they have to hit the sign into the ground. I know the resident had called me and the administration was looking into that. So I don't know if that's the hold up with the one way, but Director Moretti, is there a time frame when we pass something and it gets put into code? How long does it typically take to get the ball rolling on something?
Yeah, typically it's days. What happens is the city clerk sends out the notification of all ordinances that pass, and they go to the appropriate departments. And then it's just at that point, Mr. Mulcahy in this instance will signal to the folks at Highway to manufacture the signs on premise, and then they'll get out there. Typically, I never asked that question, but I know they're very attentive to it. So, and it won't take long. So I can tell you it's within days. And I'll just, again, I'll double check, and I could assure you, barring any absences of the folks that make the signs, that we'll have the sign. If they're not up, they could be up for all I know. But if not, it could only take a couple of days. So I know there's not a big delay in having to get the signs up and make them, unless there's a staffing shortage in that department with 2 people.
Okay, so I have a follow-up question, Council President, that I asked the question. Yes. So I feel like I'm not sure. It's like, okay, we pass an ordinance and we're done. And then what is the proper procedure to follow to know, hey, we did that. Okay, it has been resolved, and who get back to us and to say, hey, it's happened. This is the follow. So for example, I have to say thank you to Director Mason, the administration, for Grace Street and Park Ave, and the press button. I said it, press button. I remember when I asked to have this signage of press button. I was, in the report, it was like, I don't know what the councilwoman meaning, but it's there. So I appreciate that. But if I didn't go, and see it there, I would not know, so I would not know it has been done. So is it up to us when we ask for a stop sign, for example? So it's up to us to go back to look, is it there or not, or is there a proper way to notify us, or this has been done?
Director Moretti, I guess the question is, once an ordinance is in place or traffic goes out and puts it up, is anybody tasked with following up with the council member just to let them know it's been done? Or is it something we just got to take a ride by and see for ourselves?
I don't think it's ever been within, the council was notified back. Certainly the head of public works is responsible for it. we can implement a tickler system, if you will, internally. As a follow-up and leave the department head responsible. So hasn't been done, not to my knowledge. And typically if something's not up, we would get feedback. No, in terms of reporting back to the council that it's been done, I think we can make, I think the point's taken that we could, in this case, work with the Director Mason or his replacement down the road of ensuring it internally. It's an easy, but it's not very difficult, frankly. Again, as I mentioned, because the city clerk notifies the department head, and I think they've been pretty responsive. This is, I think, I've been here a year. It's the first time this issue's come up. I'll follow up and so to report back to the council. I don't know if you want to put that as part of the procedure, because a lot of ordinances, a lot of signs. But I can just ask that the department head follow, make sure it's done.
Yeah, I guess, Director Moretti, if it's okay with you, Councilwoman Jermaine, we'll put this Eden Park on the Public Works agenda item in a few weeks for an update on that too. And while we're at it, Vice President Ferry and Rosalba, if we could just get an update on the Village Avenue sign too, that was passed a few months ago. Not sure if that one went up too. Certainly appreciate it. And any other questions or comments? Council Member Vargas.
Thank you, Council President. I'm sorry, I did not add anything to the docket, so I apologize. I'll make this very quick. I just wanted to go ahead as today is the last day of the month, which is Black History Month. Let's make sure that, we acknowledge and understand and really know the history of the past so we can continue to move forward with United as a Nation. And as we start the first day of March tomorrow, I'd like to go ahead and recognize the women who I serve on the council with, and obviously Rosalba as well, who's our clerk, and all the women, a happy Women's History Month throughout the month of March. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much for bringing that up, and certainly appreciated, Councilmember Vargas. Any other questions or comments? There being none, I'll close council member communications. We have no council business matters carried over. I'd just like to note before we introduce the new matters before the council that the council will be going back in person for the month of March, obviously continuing our hybrid model of Zoom and YouTube. But we're going to try to get back in person and get back to some sense of normalcy, which I'm sure will be appreciated by many and by the constituents. I've had many calls asking when we're going to go back in person. So that's the plan for March. I'd also like to note a Scrivener's error on 2-22-01. The date on here is 3/17/21. This is actually being referred to committee on 3/7/22. So it's not 3/17, it's 3/7. Just note that for the public. So I'll entertain a motion to send all the new matters to the proper committee.
Motion to send all new matters to the proper committees.
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes, and just to note, the city council's next regular council meeting will be held on March 28th. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please take the roll,
On the adjournment,
please.
Councilwoman Mazzulli,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vargas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jermaine,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Riley,
Yes.
Council Vice President Ferry,
Yes.
Council President Paplaskas.
Yes, thank you very much, everyone. We Adjourned. Have a great night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Aye.
Good night.
Night.